Hey, I do want to say, for all y'all that's subscribed and comments and all that, I really do appreciate it. Like I said before, I really started this channel for really for the family. Another reason, you know, being on the roads all the time, there's inherent risk, right? There's a danger to being on the road all the time. So I kind of figured I'd use YouTube as a platform that, you know, if, you know, God forbid anything was to ever happen, you know, the kids and whatnot always had something to go back and look at. That's kind of the reason I went the way of YouTube as far as doing this. But, you know, everyone else started subscribing, and I don't know, I do it for y'all now too. So yeah, thank y'all for all of y'all that's subscribed and comments. I really do appreciate it, because there is times where I'm like, because I'm not a YouTuber, like I don't know anything about this stuff. I mean, I'm I guess a trucker now that does YouTube, definitely not a YouTube trucker. I need to get an ice pick or a screwdriver or something, pop this O-ring off. But anyway, I just wanted to say I appreciate it. Thank y'all. There's days where I'm like, man, screw this. Tired of, you know, filming all the time or running the camera, when I would just like to get out, get unloaded, and hit the road, or get loaded, strap down, hit the road, instead of having to deal with the camera. But you know, the more and more people that subscribe, the more and more I want to do it. You know, I like doing it now. So again, thank y'all. I think I've gone on long enough. Let's go ahead and get to the video. Appreciate it, guys and gals. What is going on, everybody? So in the video where I was going through Moab, I mentioned in there you could hear that whine. I've had some people say, you know, it's your transmission. It's not the transmission. I know I have a whine in the transmission. That's that junky Meritor transmission. I have plans down the road to change that out, but I was thinking about saving that for the winter when freight slows, instead of trying to tackle that right now. But like I said, I knew it was a turbo, because whenever the turbo spooled up, the whine spooled up. Whenever the turbo spooled down, the whine spooled down. I checked the impeller on the charge air side, and it had some slack in it. So what I think was happening is when the turbo spooled, that it was pushing that impeller into the housing, even though I can't see any damage just by taking the intake off. But I went ahead and picked up another one. Went ahead and got a new one. You cannot find whole set HX55 turbos right now. I thought about going the JM route. JM turbos, you can get them off Amazon for like 320 bucks. But after spending the money that I spent on the motor, and if I was to do the JM turbo, it would have been temporary. Very, 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 very temporary. I would have bought it, slapped it on, taken my other one up to either Waco, to Majestic Turbo, or to M&D Distributors out of San Antonio. They rebuild them. Well, their shop in Houston does. But you take the turbo to San Antonio, and they'll have a guy drive it over to Houston, rebuild it. Takes about a week. And then there's one other place in San Antonio, I don't remember the name offhand, but they rebuild them too. I could get prices on a whole set for around $820. I think the cheapest one was $789, I believe, for a genuine whole set HX55. Part number 349500. Let's see, 34950044. I could get them priced, but everyone was on back order and had been on back order since, I think M&D has been on back order since March, is what they said, on whole set, and they've been on back order since, I think, June for BorgWarner. Several of the other places I've called have been on back order. Cummins didn't have any, but I'm not going to pay Cummins price anyway. For a whole set HX55 turbo, Cummins wants $2 grand. Freightliner, I found one Freightliner that had one in stock up in Iowa, and they want it $1,600, I believe. So almost double the price. I could get one from like M&D or someone like that if they had them in stock. That's the only problem though, is they didn't have, they don't have them in stock. I ended up getting this one from, I think, Turbochargers Direct, I believe, and even they were out of genuine whole sets. They said they didn't know when they were going to get any in, so they had an aftermarket. The aftermarket was actually a little more expensive than the whole set. The aftermarket was, what this cost me, like $870. So Alright, so we got to get these studs out of here. Checking the turbo itself, there's a little bit of play. I mean, there's not a whole lot of play. But I'm sure y'all can hear that, right? So that is causing, and you can actually see, let me get that other light around here. Alright, you can see where it's rubbed a little bit on the housing. Now, I am no turbo expert by no means at all, but I think that is my problem. Because I have some play in and out and up and down. So I'm actually thinking about doing this tomorrow. Letting this sit here with some old, is the camera angled right? Yeah. letting this sit here with some PB Blaster on it. Oh, probably help if I pull the straw all the way up. Let that soak down in. I don't know. See if we get any running down. Oh yeah, it's going through. They shouldn't be too hard to pull out. See if we can't pop them off real quick. So we were able to find some studs. Little place I found in San Antonio has them. So time to hit the road. It's about 35-40 minutes away. We'll go pick them up real quick, then come back and get the turbo put in. What's up, everybody? We have got studs and some new nuts. So we'll get the other turbo out, get the studs in, and get the turbo back on, take it for a test drive, see if it's still making that whining noise. Oh, I got some other stuff while I was gone too. So some of my straps have basically seen better days. So I've been calling around San Antonio looking for winch straps, 4-inch winch straps. But I need a specific brand. I need Ankara. MIT and all the other ones, US Cargo Control. They would work on my trailer, but they don't work on my trailer, if you catch my drift. Ankara the hooks on Ankara straps are they're a 1/4 inch. Or I'm sorry, the hooks on the Ankara straps are 3 1/4 inch wide, whereas MIT, US Cargo Control, and the other ones are 3 5/8 wide hooks. Well, over here on my trailer, I had the slide track that goes down basically the whole side of the trailer except for where the axles are. And if you're not using Ankara, you can't slide the hooks in. You got to run the strap in first and then pull it all out until you get the hook, and you can latch the hook on the rub rail, which is a pain in the butt. So I was able to find a place in San Antonio that sells them. They were a little on the expensive side. They were like 27, 24, 27, something like that. A strap, but I went ahead and got some more. All right, so the aftermarket kit comes with a gasket, but let's see. Oh, look at that. So, okay, yeah, it's just one solid piece. So this is the factory, or the OEM gasket, which is like this one, right? And this, I do need that. I couldn't find the oil return gasket, but this is the aftermarket gasket, which I'm sure it'd work, but I'm gonna run the OEM gasket. Also, I stopped by a Freightliner and picked up new O-rings. This O-ring goes here, and this one will go around the top. I'm gonna go get some brake cleaner. I'm gonna clean this off, and we'll get this put on, put some anti-seize on this side of the threads, and then we will be ready to start installing the turbo. I guess I could have grabbed an ice pick while I was over there. Oh well. Alright, we're going to take this O-ring off. Well, I say we are. I'm going to pop it off. Throw the new one on, then I'll get a little grease, put on that O-ring. Something I learned in wireline. One of my old bosses always, you know, because everything we did in wireline was, we had to use O-rings because of pressure. You know, we were dealing with anywhere from 0 up to, at times, you know, 20,000 PSI. And the only thing between your tools, you know, a $500,000 logging tool and wellhead pressure was O-rings. So, you know, as always said, you know, the boss always said you can never have enough grease. Always lubricate any O-ring you put on anything. That way you don't damage the O-ring when you're making up the tool string. So anyway, I'm gonna get some grease, put on that real quick, then we should be ready to go. 90 weight oil will do the trick too. Like I said, all you're wanting to do is keep that O-ring from, you know, mating up with a metal surface dry. I'll get the torque wrench and torque that up, and then we're gonna go ahead and get her put on. One thing I do want to change real quick before I put the turbo on, as you can see, the wire loom's kind of melted. This goes over I think this is the high side. Yeah, Yeah, so this is the high side line coming from the condenser. I want to move this up behind this hose right here. So I got to take this off, because as you can see, it's this hangs down right over the top of the turbo. So I want to move it up and get it up here, and then zip tied. That way it doesn't affect this line or anything. It hasn't melted the hose itself. It's just worked on the wire loom. So I'll get that moved up real quick, then we'll get the turbo on. All right, so I just want to kind of explain what I did. Where the oil return is, it returns it back to the oil pan. It's a pain in the butt to get this back bolt in if the turbo's mounted up. So what I did is put the turbo, mounted the turbo to the exhaust manifold, got the front side in over here, and then laid it back down to where I could get a wrench on the oil return back to the oil pan, and was able to get this bolt in. Got it tightened down. Now I'll get my gasket on, go ahead and mount it to the manifold, and then bump this side tight again, and then we should be good to go. Start putting stuff back together, checking over everything. So that's what we're gonna do. Alright, one thing we do want to make sure happens before we put the oil inlet line on is get some brand new unused oil. You're going to drip it down in here while spinning the impeller right here, to prime the bearing and everything. So all right, we'll get our O-ring on, get this back installed, and then start putting everything else back on. One thing I didn't pay attention to is the direction this was going. This needs to come down. So I'm gonna have to loosen this banding clamp up, slide it up here. That way I can get to the nut a lot easier. And then this piece is gonna have to come down to about this angle right here. So
where do you go to sleep at night? Say it ain't so. Please say it ain't so. Where do you go?
alright, turbo's back on. The new turbo's on. All of this is tight, this is tight, that's tight. Tight here, here, here. The band clamp is tight here, tight back here. Bearings primed, this is tight. The oil turns on, that's tight. So we should be ready to go. yeah. Should be good to go. One other thing I'm gonna do. So when I was in Cincinnati, I had a the quick exhaust valve started leaking on me. So I stopped by Freightliner and picked up a new one, which was, I think, 20 bucks. But this is the style they sold me right here. And that thing makes an ungodly amount of noise when you press the brake. Now, it passed the inspection, but I'll let y'all hear it. So, and it drops. One other thing it does is it drops a lot of air real fast. A lot faster than I think it should. 2 pumps on the brake, the buzzer's coming back on. So I went and picked up another quick exhaust valve. This is the same style that I had on the truck originally. So I'm gonna throw this in, and then I think we'll be good to go. I think we'll be done. I'm gonna organize a few little things, and then be ready to hit the road in the morning. So we'll holler at y'all in a minute when I take the truck down the road. We'll see how it's doing, whether it's making that same whining noise again. So we'll see here in a minute. Everything seems to be fine now. I hear the turbo spool up and then spool back down. And no more whine. Oh! I think that was it. I hope that was it. I don't hear it anymore, so if it wasn't, the next thing I would probably end up doing is building some PVC doohickeys to put on the boots and pressurize the intercooler and everything like that, to see if there's any leaks in the intercooler. But I believe it's fixed. Oh, I don't know. Like I said, I don't hear it anymore, so hopefully that took care of the problem. My only concern, or my biggest concern, was if it was the turbo and the turbo went out. You know, I could run the risk of screwing up the motor again if, you know, for whatever reason it let loose or something like that. And after all the money I spent on the motor, I didn't want to take that chance. I have a spare HX55 whole set turbo now. Well, after I get it rebuilt. Anyway, we'll holler at y'all later. Till the next time. Later.